Honest J. Nowak. Coming at you live. Alright. A pleasure to meet y'all at last. And today is the last ever HJN episode of this marathoning session. The last ever HJN episode of December 31st. And the very, very, very last episode of Honest J. Nowak Season 2. Or Honest J. Nowak in general. For the year 2021. And so, when you think about it, this has basically been the third year that HJN has been around on YouTube. 2019, 2020, and 2021. But now that we're entering into 2022 with only a few hours left of 2021 to spare, I'd say it's about time that I go ahead and end this whole entire awfully bad year with a bang. A seriously big one here. Because we're at number 982. Yep. And this one's going to be about albums. Now, I'm actually in the works for a top countdown based on the best albums that I've listened to all the time. I listen to tons of different albums out there. I do have a massive iTunes library of over 7,500 songs in many different albums. Albums, of course, that range from different genres to soundtrack, alternative rock, pop, disco, funk, electronic, synthwave, and much more. Excluding many of which that are certainly obvious by this point. While I might not go into detail on that for right now, I can pretty much leave that to your imagination. But anyways, albums are in fact the collections of songs that different artists, bands, duets, and others perform as a way to put together into a collection that can all be grouped at once, of which that they're all released simultaneously at the same exact time. Weezer's Ratitude, for example, which is the album cover that features a dog jumping in the air in a living room set, was released in late 2009 and is probably one of the best albums I've ever heard in my whole life. But that's only just one sampling of maybe dozens out there that I have listened to and I am a really big fan of by this point. And so, at this point, it's probably important to know, depending on the genre that you pick, depending on the artist or the band that you select, and depending on a boatload of other unique things out there, the album cover is certainly a pretty nice complexion of different things out there. Color, subtitle, font, depiction, picture, artwork, etc. And there's a lot of detail that can be put into one, or sometimes an album can be as simple as just having a blank palette, which has been done many times. But when you really get down to it though, the usage of albums are in fact the combination of different amazingly well constructed works when it comes to music as a whole. As I've said before though, Weezer's Ratitude is one of the best albums I've heard in my life. You're probably wondering though, what is the all-time greatest album that I've ever heard in my life? Well, at this point, it's very hard to choose. There's so many albums out there that I have basically downloaded over the past 10, 15 years of my life, and even more so, getting to know about how huge my iTunes library basically is. As I've said, it's over 7,500 songs, pretty much, with a capacity in total of around 70 gigabytes of data, which is gigantic. Especially when it comes to getting to know about how many songs of mine I got, and how many songs I've gotten downloaded from the web, so this way I could have them all show together in a gigantic library that I will be keeping for a long time. But if there's one thing out there that really describes albums, it's that they're works of art. Music is technically a form of art. A career, a job, a passion, anything at all really could describe this in a nutshell. And there's always a likelihood that we'll be having even bigger ways of getting to listen to music. we've gotten to have albums from multiple formats, from records to cassettes to CDs, then finally the digital age where we have the usage of MP3 and MP4 players, but now with usages of streaming platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and plenty of others to choose from will allow you to use these different formattings to your liking. Recordings of all sorts, ranging from well over 100-something years ago all the way to the present. And there's been millions of songs put together, way more than you probably would expect to see ever in history. Covers, albums of all sorts are just everywhere. Pretty much hard to avoid. And it seems that every day we might actually expect to see a brand new one in the works, which will eventually be released. So with that in mind, well, thank you very much for watching HJN. It is time to finally put a close on this book. This entire chapter of our lives is finally over. We can now shut the book, padlock it, and dump it into an acid lake, where we can watch it melt away and perish forever. That's probably just one unique way that I can describe 2021 as a whole. But yet, a lot of people out there have proven it to be way worse than ever. Do be sure to check out my 2-hour testimony on this with a video called 60 Reasons Why 2020 is the Worst Year of All Time. But until then, I'm Jay Nowak. This has been the year 2021, and I am more than glad to finally be rid of it all. So, do be sure to check in tomorrow, though, for one episode a day, at least for a little while longer. That is, of course, until such a time will come that I will have another crossover series. But you will get to know about that pretty soon. Until then, if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you have a happy new year. Hopefully, one that is actually better than what this one has turned out to be. And make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.